All right, y'all, we're back with from another break. Good time to say subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share it, do what you need to do necessary to. This is a powerful episode. We're going to be back talking to Todd, and now we're moving into this segment about when he began to work the program wholeheartedly. Some things began to change in his life, and we were talking as we were taking a bathroom break that you had physically some things were beginning to change at the same time that spiritually was happening. Walk us through both what was happening physically and spiritually at the same time.
Okay, absolutely. So after the symptom of the alcohol was starting to subside, the sobriety was hitting, my priorities started to change. I started to actually care about what the doctor was telling me about my health. I wanted to live.
Yeah.
Um, and I knew, having been in shape prior to all this, been in the military, playing sports, I knew how to get in shape. I knew the basics behind it. I knew what to do. I just didn't care anymore. The disease made me not care. So I knew the cardiologist had told me not to get my heart rate up above a certain amount, because if I do that, then it could break loose.
Okay.
You could probably die.
Yeah.
So I bought this thing that goes around your chest, and it
Yeah.
had a heart rate monitor.
Yeah.
So what I started doing, things started changing. I lived in a subdivision, a big subdivision. I would jog between mailboxes and walk between a mailbox and jog between a mailbox and walk between a mailbox. And I would do that for a mile.
Fartleks. Yeah.
And I would watch my heart rate. If my heart rate started getting close to that red number, I would take a break. And I did this, and it's a process. We want everything now. It took months, dude.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this thing called P90X back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So I did not want to go into a gym looking the way I looked.
Gotcha.
I mean, I was pathetic.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'll get this in my basement, and I'll get up at 4:30 in the morning before I go to work and do this. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Slowly started. You eat an elephant one bite at a time.
Mhm.
It takes time to go from 230 pounds to 175 pounds.
Mhm.
It just takes time
Mhm.
to do it right.
Yep.
So 2009, this thing called CrossFit starts hitting, and I see this, and I'm like, dude, that reminded me a little bit about the military stuff, and it was
Mhm.
like sort of competitive. And I'm thinking, that's a lot more better than doing chest, back, and buys 3 sets of 10. I can go in here and compete, or get competitive. So I started doing the CrossFit thing and fell in love with it.
Cool.
Fell in love with the whole concept, the community, getting to meet people. And that's how I got my spiritual life really back in tune, because one of the coaches there, um, he and I became, I really liked him a lot, and he was just a real dude.
Yeah.
One day I asked him, and that's a question I don't really like the questions of what do you do?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to know more about who you are,
That's right.
because what you do doesn't define you.
Yeah.
It's what you do, and it's pretty cool.
We're just not real good at sort of fishing that out. We sort of, yeah.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah. What do you do?
You know,
We know what we're saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, when I asked him what he did, he said, "Well, I'm a worship pastor over here at this church." And I'm like,
Gotcha.
"Wait a minute," because I at one time sang, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're a worship pastor?"
Yeah.
But we've had conversations, and you're real.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're not. You're you're,
Right.
you're the most legit dude that I know. But yet, I said, "What church, by the way, did you
Yeah.
go to?"
Yeah.
And he told me.
Yeah.
And my wife was really rooted in church we were going to at the time. And I said, she knew my coach and his wife and everybody, because she was doing CrossFit with me.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I said, "You're not going to believe this. He's a worship pastor at this church right down the street over here in Tennessee Street." I said,
Hmm.
"I know you probably don't want to go to another church." I said, "But she knew where I was at. I
Yeah.
wasn't really, I was on the middle."
If you're in, then she's in.
Yes. Yes. Because if you look at how God has structured, the man's supposed to be a spiritual leader. I was not. She was.
Let me ask you a question real quick, interrupt. At this point, how many years had you been married?
Got married in 92. This was 2015.
Okay, so a significant period of time since she's seen you and remained married to you.
Yes, and that's
And
wrong.
with this sort of accurate for the first time, do you sort of say, I'm in, I'm doing this? Am I accurate to say this may be the first time that you've come, your wife said, I want to go back to church and I want to go to church here?
Yes. Yeah. I was going to church, and we were doing, this thing, and I was sober, had a couple of years under my belt.
Yeah.
You know,
6 years, you said 2009?
it was
Got to,
2000, yeah, 2008 was my last
gotcha.
church.
Gotcha.
So this was 2000, yeah, 2012, probably whenever I got out of the other stuff I was doing. I was still when I first got in the program, I still didn't want anything to do with God. I was into all that, like I said, that self-help
Mhm.
guru stuff, what
Mhm.
I call witchcraft in my opinion,
Gotcha.
because it took me down a dark hole.
Mhm.
But, so anyhow,
So you're a CrossFit
yeah,
coach.
yeah.
Your wife says, "Okay, you're in." So do y'all switch churches?
Well, actually, we didn't switch churches right away, but she said, "Yeah, I'd love to go check it out."
Cool.
And we went, and I hadn't felt the spirit of God really since that plane ride
Mm,
to Korea.
mm.
And I'm in there at this church thinking, "This is gonna be cool. Check out what's gonna happen, see what the coach does, see how good he is, blah, blah, blah." And it's when I realized God never left me.
Mm.
Felt the power of the Holy Spirit like I've never it was just so refreshing. And he was like, "I love you. Just sit here in my presence and let me be God. You're okay."
You felt safe?
Oh, bro, it was like the weight, it just broke the hardness of my heart just broke loose, and I started weeping. I hadn't dude, tears
Yeah.
other than just
Not out of weakness. You know, a lot of times people mistake tears in dudes. It's not weak, man. It's his passion.
gratitude, bro.
It's emotion, it's a wellness that springs up, and it's like this the outlet for emotion to be present.
And you gotta let that go. You can't that's our problem, we hold stuff in. No, it's not weakness, bro. Especially when you get other men that you can come,
Mm.
iron sharpens iron, you can let that out.
Yeah.
It's okay. Uh,
So you're comfortable with
oh,
sitting in the presence of God.
oh, dude, yeah. I mean, here I am just completely overwhelmed,
Mhm.
and from that day forward, we're still at that same church today, and
Let me ask you about the feeling of when you made the comment overwhelmed, not in a bad way.
no.
When the other side of that coin, metaphorically speaking, pressures, frustration, anxiety, and so forth,
Mhm.
the overwhelmingness is a peace. It's a comfort, right?
Man,
Safety.
it was fantastic. Yeah, it was a refreshing of my soul.
Yeah. I think a lot let me hit pause for a second on our conversation and sort of make a, comment. I think that's perhaps if any of you listeners or viewers have not experienced the overwhelming peace and,
Yeah.
reconciliation with God, this is another good time for you to contact us and we'll connect you. Or by faith, visit a local church wherever you're at. Find somewhere that they preach the Bible and attend by faith, muster up the courage to go. And if you have any additional questions that you want, we'd be glad to field your questions, talk to you, speak to you. Reach out info at menbuildmen.com.
Mhm.
You can reach out to the website, send us an email, message, link, any of the social channels. Get a hold of us and we'll be glad to help you. So you're in church with your wife. Things are going well. You're still doing CrossFit.
Mhm.
You're still working at Shaw at this point.
Mhm.
And the Lord is, he hadn't moved. You've met,
I'm a
but you've returned to him and keep walking us through
yeah.
where,
You've heard the story of the prodigal son. That's my story.
right on.
That is my story.
Yeah.
And,
If any of you haven't read the story of the prodigal son, it's recorded in the Bible. You can look, or actually could chat GT or
yep.
Google it, or I'm sure just the prodigal son, and you can read it from the scriptures, the story that Todd's talking about. But you had a prodigal, you came and returned to God.
And
God was expecting you. He was standing in a posture of looking for your
he checked
return.
me down.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful thing about it. He re yeah, I was thinking he was done with me, and he wasn't. And that's a beautiful thing, the restoration. But yeah, so we've been in the church ever since, and I was sitting there thinking, okay, I'm washed up, I'm used goods. God's never going to use me. I said, but Lord, I don't care if you use me. I just want my relationship with you. I want that more than I want anything. I don't all that is whatever.
Yeah.
And we went. So my wife's always active in church. She always likes to serve or do whatever. If she's connected to a church, she's going to do something. That's just her heart. So we go to this class that they have for opportunities to serve at the church, and I'm like, "I'm not doing anything, dude. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the moment, and I'm having a blessed time." And So we're sitting in this class and they're going through all these things, and there's a verse in scripture, and I'm not going to try to quote it because I'll blow it up, but it's like, it's better to be the doorkeeper in the house of the Lord than dwell in the tent of the wicked.
Mhm.
And that came to my mind out of nowhere, but dude, I'm like, okay, Lord, I can hold the door open and tell people, good morning, how you doing? If that's all I ever do, I'm good.
Mhm.
Can I do that?
Mhm.
And he let me do it. So we started serving as greeters.
Cool.
And today, I mean, just to fast forward,
Yeah, yeah.
dude, if you tell me, it's just a mind blowing thing how good God is. He allows me to facilitate our recovery group, our men's recovery group at our church.
Yeah, how is anybody here locally or in Cartersville, Georgia that here's local, how do they find out how you, your group, where they come?
You can go to the Crosspoint City Church app and click on recovery, men's recovery, and you can put a request in there. We meet on Tuesday nights at 6:30 in the student center.
Is that primarily for just alcohol and
It's
drugs?
any
Any kind of
hurt,
addictions?
habit, hang up you got that brings you in. None of us come in these programs on a winning streak, my friend.
Mhm.
We all come in on our rear ends and
Yeah, why don't you say that again? No one arrives on a winning streak?
on their winning. You don't come into recovery on a winning streak, dude. And nobody's throwing rocks at anybody because the beautiful thing about those rooms, everybody's been where you're at and they understand where you're at. And that's the beautiful thing about it is that common ground.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and even today, God, he takes all things work to the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to, and it's all things, gentlemen. No matter how bad you made a wreck out of your stuff, God can turn that around and make your mess a message. Absolutely can. And he does. And it's about him. It's not about me. God did for me what I couldn't do for myself.
Yeah.
And, today I have the fortune to sit down and talk to men who are struggling and encourage. And we talk about recovery. And also, he's allowed me to be a part of the worship team again.
Oh, right on.
So, and I love that more. That's just to worship him and give back to him for what he's done for me.
Mhm.
Man, it's what an honor and a privilege to
Yeah.
do that. It's about Jesus, what he can do. Dude, nobody's too far gone. Um, there's a song, it's called Chasing Rebels, and one of the choruses in it, it says, this freedom that I found is not a platform for me to boast on anything that I've done. It's God's mercy and my madness and a fiery love that I couldn't outrun. And that's the deal, man. There is another side to this thing. You don't have to stay where you're at, but you're gonna have to humble yourself, swallow your pride, realize you need help, and reach your hand out. There's people that can help.
Yeah, if you want help. I was just asked you a couple hard questions,
Mhm.
like, so it's a disease that you have to continue to live with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the present situation of living with a disease.
Knowing that I have this thing and it's in remission, okay? As long as I maintain my spiritual condition, I have a daily reprieve of this thing. And this is even in the recovery. This is what you learn in recovery. I have a 24-hour reprieve as long as I maintain my spiritual condition, which is my communication and my relationship with Jesus Christ. And the program even, it's like uh, recovery is always in front of me. When I get up in the morning, one of the first things I usually think about is I'm still powerless over alcohol. No matter what happens today, that's not my answer. Period. That's not it. Now I can make a choice. I know I've got another drunk in me.
Yep.
I don't know I got another sober in me. That scares me to death.
I want you to say that one more time.
I know for a fact I've got another drunk in me. Left to my devices, the sin nature that I have, that's my default. And I know that. I know I've got another drunk in me. I don't know that I got another sober in me because it was not easy, my friend. It was a fight and I don't want to do that again. But now that I've got recovery, I've got that peace. Life still hits, man.
Mhm.
But you learn to face those fears, face those disappointments, those failures, and you don't have to medicate over it. You deal with it.
Mhm.
You get the help you need. You talk to somebody. You pray about it. You don't isolate. You don't hold it in and try to fix yourself because you can't fix yourself.
Yeah, one of the things that I've sort of picked up in us having this conversation with you is one, when you entered into your program, you had a facilitator, a coach alongside of you, right? Is that what was the correct verbiage? A
Coach is
coach,
my sponsor.
you're your sponsor. You didn't go at this thing alone.
Hmm.
You intentionally have another man that's in. the battle, in the fight with you, and that's sort of this camaraderie, this brotherhood.
Yep.
It's what the scriptures tell us to do. I think one mistake that I think as I'm listening to your story and reflecting in my own life and the lives of other men, we make a mistake when we choose to isolate. When you said you want to go downstairs in the basement and drink alone, it's not a good decision. When we intentionally isolate ourselves or opposition tries to tactically separate us, it's not a good response for us to remain in isolation. So I think like that's one of the things that where I'm at personally in my life is strength in numbers,
Mm.
strength in brotherhood, the desire and the purpose to intentionally connect myself with other men. I like you said on military, the basic training, they break you down to show you that that service in the military is not meant to be done alone. Service in the Lord's army, service in the Lord's family is not meant to be done alone. It's meant to be in conjunction with one another, in fellowship with one another. And I think,
Mhm.
like, I don't mean to like get a bit preachy, but I was
No.
listening to myself. A lot of times, followers of Jesus don't participate in a local church.
Right.
Like you said, it's just not a good procedure or policy to intentionally withdraw or retract from the family because life is designed. And when you're in relationship, the harder thing I think is to pour ourselves out. When you called your sponsor,
Mhm.
I bet you he had responsibilities, tasks, and assignments and other things that he perhaps could have said, "Hey, Bailey, I'm busy.
Absolutely.
Can I call you back?"
Yep.
But perhaps he at that moment, he had a desire to be selfless and to serve you,
Mhm.
to honor you, to make himself available to help you
Yep.
and assist you. And I think those are the marks that I often think most highly of other men that pour out themselves or empty themselves or reprioritize their life so it benefits somebody else,
Mhm.
not necessarily ourselves.
Absolutely.
And as I was listening to your story, my life, like, man, we just want what we want. And I think part of maturing in our lives is when we can, by the power of God placed inside of us, hit pause on our own desires
Mhm.
to benefit and serve
Oh,
other people,
absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely.
So reason I said that is when you still have another drunk in you, how does the Lord permit you to not go after that drunkenness?
Well, you'll hear this in a program too. So there's going to come a time when the only thing between you and the thing that brought you in this room is going to be God Himself. So you better have a good relationship with Him because it's going to come a day when your buddy's not going to be there. When, for whatever reason, like you said, they can't,
Yeah,
there's life gets in the
yeah,
way. So you need to have that relationship with God.
right on.
Again, you know, yeah, that's what I tell my guys all the time. I said, don't fool yourself, guys. I said, this thing is outside that door doing push ups, pull ups, and everything else, just waiting for you to try to take it on again. And it's going to be bigger and better than it was when you left it the last time.
Mm.
Keep that in your mind.
Yeah,
Preach to yourself. Don't listen to yourself.
yeah,
Go to God's word. Nothing else. There's meetings all over this place at all times during the day, throughout the week.
yeah,
Go to a meeting.
yeah, that's right.
Go.
That's right.
Don't stay there. I mean, if you feel it coming on, the worst thing you can do, like we're talking about, is get in yourself and isolate back. Because that's what I tell the guys. I look for if you haven't seen me around in a minute, please call and check on me
Yep,
because I'm isolating.
yep,
Something's wrong.
yep,
Something's very wrong.
yep.
Don't feel like you're gonna hurt my feelings. You may tick me off, but it may save my life.
Hmm.
I'd rather be I'd rather you tick me off and save my life than just leave me alone and let me go.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. As you were talking, I thought to myself, I was introduced to you by our friend Brandon.
Mhm.
And had I not had a willingness to receive a phone call or text from him and make an introduction, I would never have been interviewing you. The listeners or viewers would have never had the opportunity to hear your life story, the encouragement
Right.
that comes from it. What I'm trying to say is like, man, be willing to connect with other people.
Yes.
Like be willing to connect with new people, connect with their life stories, be available to meet new people and connect. And if you're a younger person, you need to hear this, like, it is who you know. It is who you know, the
Mhm.
relationships that you build,
Absolutely.
and it's to your point, Todd, what you're talking about is connect with those people. It's okay for us to hit pause on entertainment and so forth, and just be more intentional about reaching out to people that you hadn't seen
Mhm.
in a period of time because they might not be in a good spot and you just might be used by God in that moment to catch them. So in sort of wrapping this thing up and sort of the interview, do you want to take a brief minute to tell any of the listeners or viewers anything more about your life story that might you don't know where they're at? I know you talked to them a couple times, but you want to hit them with any last charges, at last encouragement?
Yeah, keep in mind, this disease of addiction, like I said earlier on, is the only disease known to man that will tell you you do not have it. That's why it's so hard. That's why I say recovery is not for people who need it, it's for people who want it. You gotta be willing to humble yourself, raise that white flag, and say, "I surrender." You've gotta surrender. You can't fix you. You can't fix the spiritual problem without a spiritual solution. Now, I get it. When I came in, I didn't want anything to do with any of this spiritual stuff but that's fine. And they have a platform that works so well for people like me coming in, but God's in those rooms. Again, like I said, I get it. If you're coming in, you're jaded, you're church hurt, you're this, that, and the other. They have a saying, give us 90 days.
Mhm, mhm.
If you're not satisfied, we will refund your misery. So give it 90 days. Come in, they say do 90 meetings in 90 days. I don't mean a meeting a day for 90 days. You can go 2 meetings a day if you need to get those 90 meetings. And the significance behind that is, and I tell my guys this all the time, I said, God uses 90 days to change the seasons. You go from one season to another. We all are in seasons in our lives. Let God have his time.
Yeah, it's good.
Don't rush him.
Yeah.
Don't push your agenda on him. Don't have a high expectation on him that's going to fit your agenda. Just surrender. Because this is something, if you've got this disease, it's a disease like any other disease. It's nothing to be ashamed of, even though at first you have to deal with that. I mean, if I get diagnosed with diabetes tomorrow, I'm not going to be shunned by society because I got diabetes, it's a disease. I've got addiction. I've got alcoholism. It's not a wasm, it's an ism. It means it's something I don't graduate from until I walk into the presence of God.
Yeah.
When I walk into his presence, this will be gone. But until that day, I have to remind myself, I've got this disease is in remission. To keep it in remission, I've got to take my medicine the way it's prescribed. And it's laid out very clearly in the program of recovery. It's even, and please, even if you don't feel it, bro, get into the house of God and just be there. Just be there because he'll show up and he'll do a work in your life that you don't see possible. Um, I mean, like I said, if you've tried everything else like I did and it's not working, it's not going to work, and you're going to have to find something that does. And I can tell you, I'm sitting here today because not only he works, he does what he's going to do, and recovery program has worked.
Yeah, I mean, we appreciate your time and your willingness to share your story
Thank you.
and to talk transparently. What about you did say that you have a Facebook account. If somebody wants to contact you
Yeah.
directly and privately, how do they find you on Facebook?
It's just Todd Bailey on Facebook.
Okay.
And if you get on Facebook there, you can message me in the
Yeah.
messenger form or whatever. And again, like I said, we do have the recovery program out there at the Cross Point City Church, and that's on Tuesday nights. And we'll be happy to show you where the other meetings in the area are that deal specifically with your situation, whether again, like it's gambling, alcohol, sexual problems, you name it. This disease comes in many forms. But again, it's nothing to be you will get over the shame and the guilt. I promise you that. There's forgiveness of this thing. God still loves you. He's never left you.
Yeah.
He's never left you, and he never will.
That's right on. All right, it's a good point for me to say, hey, one final time, hit that subscribe button, like it, share it. You can find more information about the Marks of a Man podcast on our channels. And we are an organization or a ministry of Men Build Men Incorporated. Till next time, see you.